Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, the legal and government correspondent. And you don't have to adjust your TV. Yeah, this is just leftover from the last vacation. I haven't gotten around to fully shaving, but that will be coming off soon. I have to welcome our guest because he's a new member of our local city government, and it's the new fire chief, Drew Spielman.
Yes.
Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's start first by interviewing. I understand that you, or by your background, I understand that you started the job on June 30th.
Yes.
So, and I think I recall seeing an article as early as February is when they were announcing that your predecessor, Scott St. Martin, would be stepping down.
Yep.
He didn't put any deadline on it, but is whenever they could fill the position, basically.
Yep.
So let's start with your family, because
Sure.
I always think that's the best place. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Menominee. That was kind of the big drive to get back this way. My family still lives in Menominee. My brother lives in Eau Claire. My wife, her family settled in the Twin Cities, so that was a huge drive. You know, we moved to Hudson, and we're 40 minutes from both sets of parents.
Okay.
So that's good. We don't have any kids, so our two dogs are our kids. But yeah, so born and raised in Menominee. Got out of school, got hired in Green Bay.
Okay. Yeah, I did a little research. You said born and raised in Menominee, and then when you say went to school, you went to Fox Valley, Texas,
Correct.
where you got
Yep.
your associate's degree in what?
Fire protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and by the way, when we talk about fire protection, you're actually third generation firefighter?
Correct. Yeah. So my grandfather was one of the charter members of the Boyceville Fire Department.
Okay.
North of Menominee there. So he was on the volunteer fire department. My dad started there. And then after my dad got out of the military, he joined the Menominee Fire Department.
Okay.
So he was on there 32 years.
So you already got some Western Wisconsin firefighting in your blood.
Right. Yep.
All right. And then it says you got hired in Green Bay.
Correct.
What did you do there and for how long?
So I was there 23 years. I promoted up through the ranks. Started as a firefighter. 7.5 years ago, I wrote the test for battalion chief. So I was a battalion chief for 7.5 years.
Okay. Now, where does battalion chief fit in a department the size of Green Bay?
So it would be 3 from the top
Okay.
and about 4 from the bottom. So we manage the day-to-day operations on shift.
Okay.
Is where we're at. So we're considered administration, but we do operations.
And give us some scope of scale with the Green Bay Fire Department. I mean, everybody knows the city of Green Bay is about 100,000 people.
Yeah.
So how many stations and how many buildings would have been under your
So
direction?
we operate out of 9 stations, and they provide contractual fire protection for the village Alloway. With that, and then we also just merged with the Bellevue Fire Department.
Okay.
So they took over another neighboring community.
So it extends a little beyond the city limits.
Correct. Yep.
All right. But as far as you mentioned getting some raises, being fourth up from the firefighter level. So what were your responsibilities at the time you applied for this job?
So we were in charge of a shift. So I had a minimum of 52 people under me a day. I managed 5 of the 9 stations. There was a second battalion chief that managed the other 4. We responded to any of the more hazardous incidents, structure fires, vehicle accidents, violent crimes. We went to. We had to maintain staffing for the shift. Deal with just the everyday running of a shift. So.
Okay. So now this was advertised in February, and I understand you weren't the only applicant for the job.
Correct. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit. What was the process like from your standpoint, your viewpoint?
It was it seemed long from the time I applied. Obviously because there's a lot of candidates, they were trying to narrow it down, and then which was good because it gave me time to research the area. Because I wanted to come in well prepared. Because it was a goal of mine to get over here. It was a goal of mine to get hired. So I spent a lot of time watching city council minutes online, trying to read minutes, trying to just get to know the area, stuff like that. And then.
So how many actual interviews?
Just one.
All right, just one.
Mm-hmm.
And that would that have been like in?
That would have been
May?
in May, the beginning of May, first weekend of May. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so there was probably a few screenings just to get your resume picked among the others
Yeah.
to make that first cut, so to speak. You were a finalist.
Yep.
And then offered the job. And did you have other, pokers in the fire, so to speak, or did you?
No, the other play I had also played at River Falls at the time.
Okay.
Their chief's job would open up at the same time.
Okay.
So I did not move on in the process there. So for whatever reason, but I'm pretty happy that I got here. That's for sure.
All right. Well, now that you're here, where did you take up residence?
So we live on the south side of Hudson, kind of the newer part out by the dog track.
Okay, so south of the interstate.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so we're still in the city. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And now that you're chief and you can look at this department from, different perspective rather than coming from in-house, are there any changes in how you see you will be running the department?
No, not right now. Right now I'm still kind of that fact-finding time, right? Getting to learn the department, learn the personnel. There is nothing glaring that needs to be remedied immediately. To say there won't be changes would be wrong. I think there will be eventually, but maybe make things more efficient, maybe make things easier, maybe change some of the strategies and tactics, but major changes, I don't see anything coming in that regard.
Right. And you had already said you don't see anything glaring, so no major challenges that we face in the immediate future?
Not in the immediate future, no.
Okay. How about as far as facilities, which are brand new in a new location, not downtown anymore?
Right.
Attempted to be more centrally located for the city, but first of all, your department covers what area? It's not just limited to the city.
Correct. Yep. So by contract, we provide fire protection for the village of North Hudson, the entire township of Hudson, and then about a third to a half of the township of Troy.
Okay. And given that that's only slightly smaller than our Hudson School District, I'm going to estimate that we're still talking close to 30,000 people.
Yes, at least 30, yep, 32,000. Yep.
Okay. And because St. Joseph Township, which does have some folks in our school district, is not part of your department because they have their own.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Although, now let's talk a little bit about the mutual aid, because we talked about that off camera. Hudson, neighbors have fire departments.
Right.
So how does that work? Who are you most likely to go to a fire in cooperation to try and suppress it?
Yeah, so it would be our immediate neighbors. Obviously, St. Joe borders us on the top. Roberts Fire to the east, and then River Falls to the south.
Okay.
Most likely, and then we also do provide mutual aid to Bayport and Lower St. Croix.
Okay, so it might even cross the river.
Yep, absolutely.
And that just depends on the size of the fire.
Size of fire. Yep, for sure.
All right. Well, let's talk about a little bit about the firefighters that make up. I know some of those guys have been volunteers that you mentioned. There's some in their 60s.
Correct.
Talk about a little bit about age requirements.
Yeah, so to be hired, a requirement for our department, which I believe is for most of them, is 18, minimum of 18 years of age.
Okay. And any maximum age?
Not on Hudson, no.
Okay.
Nope.
Do you know of other departments that might invoke
Yes,
mandatory retirement?
There are either 53, 55, or 60. That's not uncommon to have.
Okay. Well, as a 60-year-old, I can say, I think we shouldn't have all ageism, and just if you can physically do the job.
Yeah. And eventually you get to be 60 and you don't like getting up at night anymore, right? You don't like going out in the cold in the middle of winter. After you've been doing it 30, 40 years,
I can understand. Yeah, and there are some people that have that 25, 30-year experience on this force.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, some approaching 40.
And as far as your numbers, how are we sitting at the Hudson Fire Department? Are we low? Are we high? Is there a waiting list?
That was actually something that I was impressed with Hudson, was the amount of membership on the department to roster the number of people they currently have. So they're at 36 right now. We've had a few people move out of the area. A few people had some job changes, stuff like that. So we're actually in the process of trying to hire, and I'd like to get at least back over 40 if possible. So
now give us some scale too. They still measure fires by alarms, 1 alarm, 2 alarm,
correct.
up to a 5 alarm.
Yep.
So I mean, just doing the math, an average fire, is that 2.5, or is it actually your most prevalent fire is only a 1 or 2 alarm?
I would say the average fire is a 1-alarm fire.
Okay.
Normally, especially with a department of our size, we can usually handle something ourselves before we need to request mutual aid.
Okay.
But some of your smaller departments with limited manpower, especially during the day, even Hudson has some of a daytime staffing issue, not as extreme as other places because people do work in the city.
Right.
Where you take St. Joseph's or Roberts, all those people work out of their communities during the day. So.
Okay. And for that fire that's going to be up to, let's say, a 2 alarm, you've got in the upper 30s as far as numbers on, but how many would actually respond to a call for a 1 alarm fire?
For Hudson?
Yes.
Yeah, as many that can show up for us would be there.
Okay.
Not necessarily going directly to the fire. We may keep 4 to 6 people back at the station in case there's another call.
Okay.
They would man the equipment that was left at the station.
All right.
So.
But if somebody has a little stove or oven fire that's causing a lot of smoke, call it in, you're not going to send 5 trucks.
Correct, exactly. Our response is based on the type of incident.
Okay.
Yep, and maybe 1 engine and 6 guys may go over and take care of it. You know, it might be 2 trucks and 8 guys, but then obviously the big fires would be everything. But yeah, yep,
okay.
It's all based on the type.
All right. And as far as, now you've been on the force for a month on the job. What do you think about how many incidents have there been in your first month on the job, and how are the response times?
Yeah, so there's probably been close to 40 incidents in the last month. A little bit of an uptick, I guess, apparently, according to the guys. The turnout's been good from the members. We don't have a problem getting guys going to calls.
All right,
so
good.
That's
Is that uptick in number of incidents related to the drought?
No, we haven't had anything grass fire related. We've had a couple, but nothing that wouldn't have probably happened otherwise. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just the area's growing, and there's more people. There's a lot more going on. Mm-hmm. There's just more chance for vehicle accidents is one of our big
yeah, of those 40, how many would you say were vehicle accidents?
There's probably 10 of those 40 were vehicle accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all know how Carmichael is.
Right. Yeah, so, and that's been a challenge, hasn't it? In fact, you got to run your trucks often on Carmichael because you're not far from there.
Yep.
So, what would you see as, now you said no immediate challenges, but maybe 5 or more years out? What do you think is on the horizon for the Hudson Fire Department?
Yeah, I think getting membership and retaining membership is going to be a challenge. That's a national-wide problem. It's not just here. It's not just Wisconsin. It's getting harder and harder to find people to commit the time to do it.
Okay.
So I think in the 3 to 5 year time period, there's probably going to be some form of full-time staffing or career staffing, whether it's just during the day before you go to full 24 hours. But I think that's on the horizon. And then I think we're also going to have to look at maybe adding a second station someplace as the community grows, as there's more development, say north or south, to help with response times. So.
Okay. Like you said, you cover the entire township of Hudson.
Correct.
That's land-wise, that's a big area.
It is.
And then, of course, the village of North Hudson really has only one access point, and that's the bridge.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Okay. Well, is there anything else, like as far as fire safety and so forth, that you want to be able to reiterate when you're facing the public? What can you tell them to try and prevent fires?
To prevent fires, the number one cause really of fires nationally is unattended cooking.
Okay.
So, it's one of those things, people pour some oil in a pan, heat it up, they're going to fry something or whatever, think it's going to take 10 minutes to heat up, walk out of the room, go do something else, forget they have it on the stove, and then poof, they got a fire in the kitchen.
They get a phone call and they get involved in the conversation.
Yep, cooking is the number one cause of home fires.
Okay.
So,
what about smoking materials, like people falling asleep smoking a cigar or something?
Yeah, no, I mean, that does happen, but I think there's less people smoking than there used to be.
Okay.
Which I think is contributing it.
And more people required to be outside to smoke.
Yes, correct, yep. Okay. And then I think, the push for fire-safe cigarettes, those kind of things have helped too, so.
Okay. Well, and if somebody wanted to know more about the Hudson Fire Department, how can they?
Yeah, they can go to our website, hudsonfd.org. There's a great place to get information on the fire department, the city's website, another place you could go.
I still see Scott's picture on the. When is yours going to go up?
Well, that's a good question. No, I don't know. We got to get a picture and then just find a time for somebody to sit down and actually put on the website.
Right. Yeah. You don't have anybody full time monitoring your website, do you?
Well, not full time. No.
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, and if somebody wanted to volunteer, who do they contact?
Yeah. So actually, right now we are looking to hire paid-on-call firefighters. So again, go to our webpage, the city's webpage. There'll be a link to an application.
Just out of curiosity, because I hear everything, we're hitting the last 6 months, inflation has been crazy, kind of led by gas prices and so forth. And now wages in some areas are seeing that follow. Definitely see it at the restaurants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that pay? I mean, if you were to want to be on the force and you answer a fire call, what do you get paid for that?
Yeah, so it's a tier depending on your level of training. You could make up to about $27 per call. So it's on a per call basis. So, if you're there for 3 hours, divide that out. It's not as lucrative as a 1 hour call.
Okay.
In that regard.
I see.
So
it's a flat rate regardless of how long you're at the call.
Correct, yeah.
And it's just per call. So out of those 40 incidents in the month of July, did you have anybody that personally responded to like more than half?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, 3/4?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could answer 30 calls in a month, those people would get paid a roughly $900.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
Yep. And then they do pay a stipend for drills also twice a month. So.
Okay, and training?
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, training, yep.
Yeah, training and drills.
Yep.
It's that regular, a couple times a month? Or?
3 times a month, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
But is there minimums? Like how many times do you have to in order to maintain your firefighter status?
Yeah, so we do require that you make 50% of drills and about, I think it's 40% of the calls.
Okay.
So.
And do people get put on probation status if they're not responding to calls or?
Not necessarily probation status. It's more of a kind of a sit-down meeting with them. See what's going on. I mean, everybody's so busy nowadays with kids, playing everything and family stuff, and it's just find out what's going on. If there's something we can do to help them find more time to do it or whatever, and then some people just find out that it's just not for them, or it's life just consumes so much that they can't put forth the time. So.
Right. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, and they really feel bad about having to leave, but sometimes it's, what they have to do.
Right. What's your max? Like at what point, I know you said you're in need of volunteers now, and but where would you cut it off and have people on wait lists? I mean, there comes a time where there's only so many lockers in the new facility.
Yeah. So between 40 and 42 is ideal, would be good for us. So if we get to 42, we would cap it at that for now.
Okay.
And then as openings become available, then we would tap into a waiting list.
And I remember pre-COVID, the fire department used to do some fundraisers, community engagement in that way. COVID kind of put a little bit of a halt on that. Is there any plans to have some type of public fundraiser? Yeah,
actually there is. In fact, next year will be the 150th anniversary of the fire department.
Okay.
So there's a whole weekend of festivities planned for that. Part of that will probably, I believe they're working on a pancake breakfast again.
Okay.
For that. And then the fire department golf outing should be coming back. So,
all right.
Stuff like that.
Is that yet this year or for 2023?
I want to say they just had it. Might have been before I got here. But I know that they're already planning again for 23.
Yeah.
So.
I get a lot of invites for different golf outings.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
For raising funds and raising awareness of the department. All right. Anything more you want to add before we sign off then?
No. Just I think the residents of Hudson have a fantastic fire department. Considering they're all paid-on-call members, they all have other jobs. They're not sitting in the fire station waiting for a call. And that the commitment that the members put forth is absolutely amazing.
Now, one question I was going to ask before we end it, and that is coordination. You probably heard that Hudson went through a change in the EMS, and this is now probably going on 5 years or 4 or 5 years ago. It was pretty heated politically, but how much coordination is there now that you work with the EMS?
There's not a lot of coordination. We obviously interact with them at fire scenes. They come and stand by for us in vehicle accidents.
Okay.
They can request us to come assist them, and we do go. So depending on the nature of the call they're at, or if they need help lifting or something like that. So we absolutely work back and forth. We have a good working relationship with them. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, well, that makes sense anyway. So, all right. Well, if people want to get a hold of you, again, the website's the best way. You
Yes.
will get your picture up there.
Yes, we will. Yeah, for sure.
And you'll have an email address that folks. And will you be attending city council meetings
Yes.
periodically?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Especially now we're coming on budget time. So.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a key point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very good. It was great meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you
to
for
meet
your
you.
time, and good luck here in Hudson. I hope it's a long tenure for
All right.
you.
Thank you.
And I want to tell our viewers to thank you for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson. Keep watching.